Yep, that's the way time seems to go when you're making stuffing. First, we're going to start out by chopping up our vegetables for our stuffing. We start with bell peppers. I put onions and celery. One thing about using your vegetables, you can either put them in there already cooked, you can saute them in butter, or you can just put them in there. I just go ahead and put them in there because when the stuffing cooks, it's going to cook the vegetables. So no need to double cook them. Okay, after we've chopped up all of our vegetables and put them in the bowl, now we start with our cornbread. I always make my cornbread in advance. This was made like 2 days in advance. And what I did is just let it cool. And what I'm going to do now is just to put it into the bowl. And I'm going to kind of just break it up so that it can be seasoned and it's easy to work with. And to this cornbread, what I did add was some stuffing mix, but I added the Melba toast kind, the kind that was already seasoned, because that's the mixture of both the cornbread and the Melba toast stuffing mix. It just makes for a good combination. Now you don't have to add the Melba toast to yours. You can just do strictly cornbread, or you can do strictly Melba toast. It's up to you. Okay, this is the part where I start to add my spices, and that's like Cajun seasoning, which is a Watkins Products, and it'll give it a little kick, but not a lot. And then after using that, I am adding smoked paprika, which gives your stuffing a kind of a smoky taste. It's a preference that I like, but you don't have to add it. And then after that, I go in and I add some poultry seasoning. This is called a seafood poultry seasoning, and it's also a Watkins product, but it's very versatile. Then I go in and I add my chicken stock, and I usually put in about 2 cans of chicken stock, and then I use 1 can of cream of mushroom, and I add that to the ingredients. And then I also like to add oysters to my stuffing. A lot of people add other things like sausage, but you can add whatever you want to your stuffing, or you don't have to. You can just make it plain like that. It's just going to be good whatever way you make it. Okay, this is where I go in and I add my vegetables that I've chopped. And some people like to saute their vegetables before putting it in, but I just go ahead and add mine because there's no sense in cooking it twice. So I just add it in raw, and then as the stuffing cooks, it will cook the vegetables. So now I'm adding in my oysters, which I said you don't have to add oysters to yours. You can just add in what you'd like. But I prefer to put oysters in mine. I didn't think I ever would, but it gives your stuffing a very, very good taste. And what I do is I buy the smoked oysters, and I add the oysters and the oil of the oysters also. Okay, so I'm adding in my last can of soup, which is the cream of mushroom soup, and I put the soup in from the can, and then I put in also a can of hot water to rinse the can out and to give it more moisture to mix easier. So what I'm adding here is sage, and that's from the Amish market. And I'm using my hands to mix it because sometimes when you're mixing stuffing or cookie dough or anything like that, the best way to mix it is just to put your hands in it. So I am wearing my gloves and I'm mixing my stuffing. So what you want to do at this point is you want to make sure that you get all your spices and everything mixed together. And at this point, you can taste it to make sure that it has the right amount of seasoning for you, and that you don't need to add anything more. But this is the best time to taste it because once you add eggs, you don't want to be tasting raw eggs. So this is a point right here is this is a point right here where you get the stuffing to where you want it to taste, to how you want it to taste rather. Okay, so here I'm adding my eggs, and your egg, it works as a binder. And what I do is put the eggs in a bowl, mix them up, and then I pour them in and I mix it really, really well to make sure it's mixed. It would be as if you were making cornbread and you're adding adding eggs to your cornbread, which is basically kind of what you're doing. And so you just get it all mixed up until the eggs are fully incorporated. And after that, what you're going to do is I usually put it into my foil pan after I finish mixing it, and I cover it with foil for about I would say about 3 strips of foil, because I'm going to put this into the into the freezer, and I'm going to freeze it until time for Thanksgiving. So I'm going to put about 3 strips of foil over it to make sure that it doesn't get any freezer burn or anything like that. And then once I get it covered, I take it and I put it into the freezer, and I leave it in there until the day before Thanksgiving. Well, the day before Thanksgiving, I take it out, put it in the refrigerator, and thaw it up, and then I bake it. From my research and my experience, you can bake stuffing up to 2 months before time, and when cooked, it comes out beautifully.